While most crypto investors are watching Bitcoin and Ethereum, something massive is about to drop for Kaspa holders. I've been digging through developer announcements, analyzing blockchain data, and studying price patterns. And what I found could change everything for KS investors. We're talking potential smart contract announcements, exchange listings on the horizon, and technical setups that veteran traders are calling coiled spring territory. But there's a catch. The charts are sending mixed signals, and one critical support level could determine whether we see a 40% rally or a brutal 10% dump. Stay tuned, because what I'm about to show you might be the closest thing to insider information you'll get on Kaspa's next major catalyst. Before we dive into the technical analysis and upcoming catalysts, you need to understand what makes Kaspa fundamentally different from every other cryptocurrency project. Most blockchains operate like a single file line at a concert, one block processed at a time, creating bottlenecks and congestion. Kaspa's BlockDAG architecture operates like multiple entry gates at that same concert, processing multiple blocks simultaneously while maintaining security and coordination. This isn't just technical jargon, it translates to real-world performance metrics that blow traditional blockchains out of the water. We're talking 10 blocks per second compared to Bitcoin's 1 block every 10 minutes. Near instant finality instead of waiting for multiple confirmations, zero mempool congestion during high traffic periods. These advantages enable microtransactions and real-time applications that simply aren't possible on legacy networks. But performance means nothing without adoption, and that's where September becomes crucial. The Kaspa Experience event in Berlin on September 13th isn't just another crypto conference, it's where IGRA Association will be showcasing their roadmap and conducting live demos. Pavel Emden and Denis Mashkovich, co-founders of IGRA Labs, are scheduled to present their journey and reveal what's coming next for the ecosystem. Meanwhile, mining dynamics are creating supply pressure that most investors completely ignore. Only 3,380 Kaspa tokens are mined daily with just 60 KS7 mining rigs. Compare that to Bitcoin's 900 coins per day, or Ethereum's massive token inflation, and you start to understand why long-term holders aren't selling. Approximately 60 to 70% of KS holders have diamond hands at current price levels, creating an artificial supply shortage that could explode when demand increases. The KASPACOM DEX integration adds another layer of complexity. Legend. Liquidity injection is scheduled to distribute KCOM tokens to the community, potentially creating additional buying pressure as users acquire KAS to participate in the ecosystem. Multiple sources suggest this distribution could happen within the next few weeks, coinciding with other September catalysts. Now for the uncomfortable truth that most crypto YouTubers won't tell you, Kaspa's price action has been absolutely brutal lately. Since July, KAS has been trapped under a descending trend line, making consistent lower highs while bulls desperately defend the 8-cent support level. Each breakout attempt has failed spectacularly, creating a pattern that technical analysts recognize as potential distribution. The bears have been relentless, testing that 8-cent support multiple times over the past month. Every bounce gets weaker, every rally loses steam faster than the previous one. This isn't the behavior you want to see before a major breakout. It's the kind of price action that precedes capitulation events. Critical support at 8 cents represents the line in the sand for KS bulls. Break below this level, and we're looking at a potential drop to 7.2 cents. That's a double-digit decline of roughly 10% from current levels around 8.3 cents. For context, that would wipe out weeks of sideways accumulation and potentially trigger stop losses from leveraged positions. The technical picture gets more concerning when you analyze volume patterns. During recent rallies, volume has been declining, suggesting, a lack of conviction from buyers. Meanwhile, selling pressure has remained consistent, indicating that every bounce attracts fresh sellers rather than momentum buyers. This divergence between price and volume often precedes significant moves. The question is, which direction? September historically ranks as one of the worst months for cryptocurrency performance. Bitcoin typically sees 5 to 7% declines during September, and altcoins usually amplify those moves. If macro conditions deteriorate or if Bitcoin breaks key support levels, KS could face additional headwinds regardless of fundamental developments. Crypto analyst at The Catalyst, Ken, recently warned that one last dip before breaking out might be necessary to flush out weak hands. The concerning part? He's been accurate on previous Kaspa calls, and his timing often coincides with major market moves. If he's right about another dip, that 7.2 cent target becomes increasingly likely. Another respected trader at MicroWeller describes KS as coiled up like a spring ready to explode higher. But springs can release energy in both directions, and the longer they remain compressed, the more violent the eventual move becomes. We're dealing with compressed volatility that could result in a 20 to 30% move within days once the pattern resolves. Despite the bearish technical setup, multiple confluence factors suggest September could mark a turning point for Kaspa. The Berlin event on September 13th represents the most significant catalyst since the project's launch, with potential smart contract announcements that could fundamentally change KS tokenomics and utility. Smart contracts would transform Kaspa from a payment-focused cryptocurrency into a full-featured blockchain platform capable of supporting DeFi applications, NFTs, and complex financial instruments. For reference, Ethereum's price increased over 3,000% in the year following smart contract adoption, while Cardano saw similar gains after the Alonzo hard fork implementation. The technical analysis reveals a fascinating setup despite the bearish bias. That descending trend line everyone's watching, it's exactly the kind of resistance that creates explosive breakouts when finally cleared. If KS manages to break above the trend line with conviction, the next target sits at July highs near 11 cents, representing a potential 40% gain from current levels. Volume analysis supports this scenario. So, while recent volume has been declining during rallies, it's also been dropping off during sell-offs. This kind of pattern suggests consolidation rather than distribution, with both buyers and sellers becoming, increasingly reluctant to transact at these current prices. When volume eventually returns, the direction will likely be pretty decisive. Mining economics provide some additional bullish support here. With only 3,380 coins mined daily and 60 to 70% of holders refusing to sell at current prices, available supply remains extremely limited. Major exchange listings could create immediate supply shortages, forcing market makers to bid prices significantly higher just to acquire inventory. The KASPACOM DEX launch adds a technical catalyst that most investors really haven't fully considered yet. DEX launches typically require users to hold native tokens for gas fees, trading pairs, and liquidity provision rewards. If KASPACOM gains traction, KS demand could increase exponentially as users interact with the platform. Institutional interest provides another bullish factor. While retail investors are focused on price charts, institutions are analyzing technology fundamentals and long-term adoption potential. Kaspa's 10 blocks per second capability and zero mempool congestion, really solve real problems that enterprises face when they're trying to implement blockchain solutions. The risk-reward ratio, at these current levels, heavily favors bullish positions. Downside is limited to approximately 10% if support breaks, while upside potential extends to 40% or even higher if catalysts align. Professional traders, they're able to recognize these asymmetric setups as high-probability opportunities, even if there are some short-term technical concerns. Market sentiment analysis right now reveals extreme pessimism around altcoins in general and KS specifically. Historically, maximum pessimism tends to coincide with major bottoms as weak hands capitulate and smart money steps in to accumulate. The fact that 60 to 70% of holders refuse to sell, even after months of declining prices, really suggests strong conviction among knowledgeable investors. September's reputation as a bearish month for crypto, honestly, could end up working in Kaspa's favor. If fundamental catalysts emerge while broader markets stay weak, KS could decouple from Bitcoin correlation and attract capital that's seeking alpha opportunities. So, this scenario has played out multiple times with other altcoins during previous cycles. The next 2 weeks will determine whether Kaspa breaks out of its consolidation pattern or, continues grinding lower toward critical support. September 13th stands as a potential inflection point, with Berlin event announcements capable of shifting sentiment from bearish to explosive bullish. Technical analysis suggests patience until the descending trend line breaks with conviction. Conservative traders should wait for confirmation above resistance before establishing positions. Aggressive traders might consider accumulating near 8 cents support with tight stop losses below 7.5 cents. The fundamental story remains compelling regardless of short-term price action. Kaspa's BlockDAG technology solves real scalability problems, mining economics favor supply shortages, and ecosystem development continues accelerating despite market conditions. These factors support higher prices over longer time horizons. Watch for expansion accompanying any breakout attempts. False breakouts typically occur on declining volume, while legitimate breakouts see participation from institutional traders and high-frequency algorithms. This distinction often determines whether rallies sustain or quickly reverse. Subscribe for updates on Kaspa developments, hit the notification bell for breaking analysis, and let me know in the comments whether you think September delivers the smart contract announcement everyone's expecting. Your engagement helps the algorithm distribute this content to other serious crypto investors. This content is for educational and entertainment purposes only, and should not be construed as financial advice. Cryptocurrency investments carry substantial risk of loss, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose completely. Always conduct your own research and consult with qualified financial professionals before making investment decisions. Past performance does not guarantee future results, and all cryptocurrency investments are speculative in nature.